I think that because Aaron Rodgers has two season MVPs and he has a Super Bowl championship to back it up, and he happens to have almost a decade's worth of Pro Bowls, I think he's more than elite and deserves a GOAT level profile because if he were to retire right now, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know. But before I really get into it, I've decided, like I said, I'm going to make this to a GOAT profile because I think that he's more than an elite quarterback, and in the sense that there are not many quarterbacks I know that have not only like a Super Bowl champion and MVP, but he has multiple MVPs in a championship. I think that's pretty rare, and for me, at least if you're a quarterback, that's probably the qualifications that only he and Tom Brady share. So I do believe that if I'm gonna name Tom Brady for that being one of the reasons, I should name Aaron Rodgers in here for that exact same reason. So to give you a little bit of background on Aaron Rodgers, just to know he's from Chico, California. He stands at about 6'2", 225 pounds. If you don't know who he is, he's a 36-year-old quarterback who currently plays for the Green Bay Packers. You people my age know him as the discount double check guy. I mean he's doing something with State Farm now, but his brother used to be on The Bachelor. Wild fun fact. I know, or The Bachelorette. His brother ended up getting engaged to The Bachelorette a few years ago, but that's something I do remember. But getting back to Aaron as a player, just as a quarterback, the way I would describe him is that he can make almost any pass look pretty simple. I mean, he makes a lot of hard work and skill. He just makes it look really effortless. It seems as though Aaron Rodgers doesn't try when he puts in a crap ton of work to make it even look that smooth. I think that there are some things about his career that to me, I think that if he would have made one or two decisions, different decisions, he probably would have more championships and have more titles to his name. But the fact that he already has a championship and two MVPs, I think that's enough. Like if I were him, I'd be satisfied with the career I had. But just to give you a bit of background, like I said, he came out of Chico, California. He got recruited to go to Cal under Jeff Tedford. And his first season, of course, he wouldn't play, but his sophomore year would be the first year he'd be allowed to play. In his sophomore season, he played 13 games for Cal. That season, they'd end up going 8-6. They'd win the Insight Bowl, but they weren't actually recognized. Aaron Rodgers would finish throwing for 2,900 yards and 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Kind of trying to get nationally recognized, especially early on. His second year, he would go on to finish with playing for 12 games and throwing for 2,566 yards and 24 touchdowns, 8 picks. In that year, the Cal Gold Bears would go on to lose to the Texas Red Raiders after being ranked 9th in the nation. But, it was still, Aaron Rodgers had put Cal on the map, at least while he was there. In sort of a Matt Ryan style. They both kind of did the same thing, but Aaron Rodgers had shown in college at Cal that he was worthy enough to get drafted in the first round, and the Green Bay Packers took a chance on him. With Brett Favre still on their roster, they decided to take Aaron Rodgers with the 24th overall pick in the 2005 draft, and they gave Aaron Rodgers a chance to at least learn under Brett Favre and at least challenge for that starting spot. Aaron Rodgers wouldn't see a lot of playing time. He wouldn't become the official starter for the Green Bay Packers until the 2008 season. And prior to then, they had made the playoffs a lot, especially throughout the 2000s with Brett Favre. And the season before he started, they made the playoffs, but the year after, Aaron Rodgers, the first year that he started, they went 6-10 with him as the starter. He would go on to throw for 4,038 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 13 picks. And like I said, the Packers would end up having a losing record, but that would be Aaron Rodgers' first year starting in the NFL. And by the time he made his first Pro Bowl in 2009, he already played 4 years in the NFL, but 2009 would be his second full year as a starter where he finally got control of the Packers. And at this point, that's when the fun began. 2009, he would start 16 games where the Packers went 11-5 with him at the helm. He would go on to complete 64% of his passes for 4,434 yards, the most yards up to date. He threw for 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions with the lowest interception rate in the league. He would go on to be the quarterback that was also the most sacked in the league. That year, he get the Green Bay Packers into the playoffs where they would lose to the Arizona Cardinals. That when Charles Woodson was the Defensive Player of the Year, but that's when Green Bay was really that team. And then next year, basically riding off that momentum, Aaron Rodgers carries that team into 2010, where he starts 15 games of a season where he went 10-5, but the Packers ended up losing the other game. They went 10-6 for the season. They finished second in the North for the second year in a row. For that season, Aaron Rodgers would complete 65% of his passes for 3,922 yards, for 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That season, the Green Bay Packers, once getting into the playoffs, because of course they had an amazing defense that year too. They were going to beat the Eagles in the first round by 5. They're going to smash the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta 48-21. They were going to beat the Bears in Chicago for the NFC Championship by a touchdown, and they were going to beat the Steelers under Mike Tomlin when they were really, really hot. They beat him in Super Bowl 45, and Aaron Rodgers was the Super Bowl MVP in 2010. At that point, before he even won the MVP, he had won the Super Bowl. He was the best player in the Super Bowl. He was named Super Bowl MVP, so he can already check a championship off of his list. At that point, he has shown that he can be a quarterback that can lead this Green Bay Packers team to success. And then this would eventually lead to Aaron Rodgers, probably his best. It'll probably lead to his best statistical season and what I agree to be the best season he's played in his career. In 2011, during Aaron Rodgers' age 28 season, he went on to start 15 games for the Packers that ended up finishing 15-1 on the season, of course, naturally winning the NFC North. That's the best record the Packers have probably ever had, ever in their history, ever, and that was when Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback, or the best record they've had, at least in a 16-game season. And that was when Aaron Rodgers won the MVP, in addition to being named a Pro Bowler for the second time. He would go on to complete 68% of his passes for 4,643 yards. The most passes he would still throw, he would throw ever in a season up until that point, and after he hasn't thrown that many yards since. He threw for 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He had a 9% touchdown percentage, leading the league. He averaged 9.2 yards per attempt. I mean, his QBR, his passer rate were off the charts. This season is the reason why Aaron Rodgers has a career quarterback rating or passer rating over 100, which is the greatest career passer rating of all time. Something like that. But Aaron Rodgers this season was a man on a mission. Like I said, the Packers, they finished 15-1. They would eventually lose to the Giants in the divisional playoffs when the Giants ended up winning the championship. But that was 2011. That was that Giants team was they really pulled off something miraculous by winning this game, I'm not gonna lie. But going on to 2012, after Aaron Rodgers was already that guy, he would go on to make the Pro Bowl for the third time in 4 straight seasons, as he started 16 games in a season where the Packers went 11-5. They went on to finish first in the NFC North. They won it for the second year in a row. They make the playoffs for the 4th year in a row with Aaron Rodgers as their starting quarterback. Within his first 5 years of starting, they're a playoff team for the 5th year in a row, or for the 4th year in 5 years. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers that season will go on to complete 67% of his passes. He would throw for 4,300 yards, 39 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, leading the league in touchdown percentage again, though 7.1% of his passes were touchdowns. He led the league in quarterback rating yet again. I mean, that year, when in the playoffs, they would go on to beat the Vikings in the first round, 24-10, but they would lose to the 49ers in the divisional playoffs, right before the Niners went on and won the Super Bowl. Of course, by this time, Aaron Rodgers was already recognized as a Super Bowl champion and an MVP. For me, at that point, he at least needed to win another MVP to make it real that he was the best player the best quarterback in the league, the best player in the league more than once, so it's not random. 2013 in his age 13 season, he would only play 9 games. He would go 6-3 in that season, where the Packers ended up going 8-7-1. With when Eddie Lacy became the offensive rookie of the year. They eventually lost in the wild card to the 49ers, but even Aaron Rodgers that season, he had a really good season. He completed 66% of his passes for 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, 6 picks. I mean, you basically know where I'm going. Aaron Rodgers didn't finish out the season, but he was basically one of the league's best players. Going on to 2014, which will go down as another one of Aaron Rodgers' historic seasons. This year, the Packers would end up going 12-4 after Aaron Rodgers came back from injury and completely kind of just took over. Aaron Rodgers that season would be named a Pro Bowler for the 4th time in his career, the 4th time in that 6-season stretch. And he would be named MVP for the 2nd time within a 4-year window. He started all 16 games, finished with a 12-4 record. He completed 65% of his passes for 4,381 yards, 38 touchdowns, 5 picks. He had the lowest interception percentage in the league for the 2nd time in his career. Additionally, the Packers, once they got to the playoffs, they would go on to beat the Cowboys in the first round, 26-21, but they'd lose in the conference championship at Seattle when Seattle was dominating, when they were winning. But Aaron Rodgers at that point had cemented himself as a 2-time MVP and he'd won a Super Bowl. To me, that would already cement him in the GOAT conversation, and anything after that is really just extra. Or at least, because at that point, he enters himself into the conversation among the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived. Because even his first MVP season was something incredible that you don't see a lot of even elite quarterbacks that have ever played in this game doing. So that's what he was able to do. He won 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl MVP within a 5-year span of each other. And this would go on to 2015, where they would once again make the playoffs. They clinched a 10-6 record with Aaron Rodgers leading the way. He'd make a Pro Bowl. He'd make his 5th at the time, his 5th in 7 years, while completing 60.7% of his passes for 3,821 yards, throwing for 31 touchdowns, 8 picks on the season. And I mean, at that point, it was known that Aaron Rodgers was not, if not the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks. That one thing that you notice in these seasons is that, like, whenever a quarterback's hot, they'll usually win the MVP, or if everything's going right, everything's set up for them to win it. Aaron Rodgers is he's still a Pro Bowl quarterback every single one of these years, still doing what he needs to do every single game and letting him add up. And these are the seasons where he plays all the games, which is really something to say. I mean, going back to his first Pro Bowl, there was only one season in which he played a full season and wasn't named a Pro Bowler. But I digress. Going into 2015, going into the playoffs, that series, after finishing 2nd in the NFC North, they would end up beating the Redskins in the wild card, and they would lose to the Cardinals in the divisional playoffs in 2015 in overtime. At that point, they were missing out, and they'd have another couple shots, but Aaron Rodgers got them back in the playoffs again. The next year in 2016, they would finish 10-6, and they'd make the playoffs yet again. Aaron Rodgers was named a Pro Bowler for the 6th time in his career, completing 65.7% of his passes for 4,428 yards. He led the league in touchdowns for the only time in his career with 40 touchdowns. He finished with 7 interceptions. And even that year, the Packers would go on to beat the Giants in the wild card. They beat the Cowboys in the division, and they lost to the Falcons in the NFC Championship game. And that's when Jordy Nelson was the comeback player of the year. That would be the last year that Aaron Rodgers makes the playoffs for the next 2 years. But in 2017, he only played 7 games that season, threw for 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, the like. 2018, he did come back, and he did make the Pro Bowl when he did get back, but the Packers finished 6-9-1 in his age 35 season in 2018. He ended up completing 62% of his passes for 4,442 yards, 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He would once again have the lowest interception percentage in the league with 0.3. That would be the 3rd time in his career that he does it. And he wouldn't make the playoffs again until 2019, this past season, where the Packers finished with the best record in the NFC North where in the divisional round they beat the Seahawks and they lost in the conference championship to the 49ers under Matt LaFleur. And in this past season, Aaron Rodgers was once again a Pro Bowler for, what is this, the 8th time in the last 11 seasons. And 2 of those seasons, Aaron Rodgers didn't play a full season. But if you add up those numbers, that would have added up to a Pro Bowler because it was 9 and 7. That's 16 games. But I digress. Getting into the 2019, he still completed 62% of his passes for 4,000 yards. He threw for 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 0.7 interception percentage. He had the lowest interception percentage in the league for the second year in a row and for the 4th time in his career. And of course, like I said, the Packers would go to the playoffs, so they would lose to the 49ers. But as of right now, if you're looking at a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who's 36, and to me, I think he already clinched his... at that point, I believe he clinched his legacy was sealed by the time he was already 32. And we're living just 5 years after he did it. He's a player with more accolades than most people can say. He's one of the best passers of the football I believe I've ever seen. He's finished his career right now in his career. His career's not even finished. He has a Super Bowl MVP, which means he has a championship. He has won the MVP twice. He's been an 8-time Pro Bowler within an 11-year span, which is incredibly difficult to do at quarterback. He was named to the first team All-Pro twice, both the years that he was MVP. He was named a second team All-Pro quarterback in 2012. In the year that he finished with 4,200 yards, the year where the Green Bay Packers ended up losing to the 49ers in the divisional playoffs. And now we are where we are now. Aaron Rodgers currently as a 36-year-old quarterback. At this point, he's still a Super Bowl MVP. He's a 2-time MVP, like regular season MVP. Proving that he's the best player in the NFL on 2 separate occasions, which is more than a lot of Hall of Famers can say. He's won 8 Pro Bowls in an 11-year window. He's made it to the first team All-Pro 2 years in a row. And within that window, he was an All-Pro second team. He's been the passing touchdowns leader once, the passer rating leader twice. He was named to the All-Decade team. He holds NFL records as he has a 102 passer rating for his career, which is an NFL record. He has the highest passer rating in a season, which is 122.5. The first year he won the MVP. He has a 4.33 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio, which is the highest that anyone has in their career. He has the lowest interception percentage in his career, which is 1.5% of his passes. He has the lowest interception percentage in a season, which is 0.3. And he has an NFL record for 402 consecutive passes without an interception, which are all incredible records when you think about it. And just seeing what Aaron Rodgers has been able to accomplish, especially up until now, I think his legacy's already cemented. If he were to retire his helmet, hang it up right now, he'd have no problem being a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's done everything you really take. He really needs to. There's nothing that he's really missing on his legacy. He came up behind Bart Starr, and I feel like he probably surpassed him as the greatest Packer ever. I feel like when I look back to the 2010s, of course I'm going to remember the dominance of Tom Brady and the Patriots. Sure. But Aaron Rodgers might be the best quarterback I might have seen, especially in this era with Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, every single one of them. I think Aaron Rodgers might be the best quarterback I've seen. Or at least when I was a Falcons fan, he was the one I was most afraid of meeting in the playoffs because that dude could tear your team. But again, the Falcons lost to the Patriots too, so they lose to everyone. So it's that's my situation. But I will say this: Aaron Rodgers deserves to be recognized as more than an elite quarterback, and I believe amongst the GOATs, he deserves to sit alongside Aaron Donald as a GOAT. And as a GOAT level player, and as an elite level player in this game, who's done more than he needs to. At this point, there's nothing more that he needs to earn. He can just play each new game and see what he can do. So I thank you for listening to all 20 minutes of this. I really appreciate it. And with that, I've said my piece. Aaron Rodgers is that dude. If you ever get a chance, watch him. He wears number 12 for the Green Bay Packers. He'll have the ball a majority of the time if you don't watch football and you're unaware of what the quarterback does. But if you ever get a chance to watch him, just watch him make throws down the field and ask yourself, other than Patrick Mahomes, can you really count quarterbacks off the top of your head that can make routine passes that Aaron Rodgers does like that consistently. I said my piece. You heard me out. Peace out.